What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review for you, and something from the depths of the underground this time. We are going to go over the latest offering from Ascended Dead, Evenfall of the Apocalypse. This also comes out on the 12th of May on 20 Bucks Spin Records. And we cover this label so much, and again, they just put out fucking awesome shit. So
I love your 20 bucks spin.
Yeah, 20 bucks spin fucking rules. That's not really a secret if you're a metalhead.
Nope.
This band formed in San Diego, California, now based in Portland, where this would definitely fucking work because this is just some obscenely crazy fucking death metal. Anyway, they formed in 2011. This is their second album, and it has been 6 years since their debut album, Abhorrent Manifestation, which was batshit fucking crazy death metal, fucking evil as hell sounding, and technical and just ridiculous and awesome. Now, they've had some scattered compilations, EPs, demos, splits that have come up, but this is legit their, sophomore album, and it seems like that should have come out a while ago. But this band is kind of perpetually busy. They share members with bands like Void Ceremony, Ritual Necromancy, Lord Gore, and a fuck ton of other bands. So I imagine getting together to actually write another album might have been a bit difficult, and especially when it comes down to this band and their absolutely chaotic sound, because I have no idea how they write this stuff. This is absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah, batshit. It's crazy to even attempt to describe. There is so much going on.
Yeah, the guitars are blaring, chaotic, churning, twisting, crawling, doing all sorts of horrible things and avoiding melody at almost all costs, because this is about being just distant and ugly and chaotic. Charlie Corrin on drums. This is the band that I heard about this guy from, and once again, he puts in a drum performance that I could only call exhausting.
Charlie, I'm tired for you, buddy.
Yes.
I don't get it.
I think he died like 3 times during this, and they just fucking resurrected him.
Did they feed you oxygen? Like, did you have a mask?
No,
an oxygen mask on?
It was an IV bag full of fucking, Monster and Red Bull mixed together.
It had to be, because it is blistering, mind-numbing speed, and I'm a drummer myself, and I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get how you keep all that shit together. There's no way. This
is such a relentless listen in terms of the pace, in terms of the song structure, the style. It's very much based on what you would call apocalyptic riffing, a term that was kind of popularized with bands like Incantation and Immolation. In fact, I would say this sounds like both of those bands, except sped up like 10 times. It's
with Incantation, it'd be sped up 20 times.
Yeah, there's very few moments of groove on here. They do get to it, but a lot of this is just chaotic blast. But in terms of like the song structure and the blast, the drum patterns, it's very close to Immolation, especially Steve's drumming. You have a lot of turnovers that sort of come out of nowhere and really weird transitions and lots of just atonal riffs that he's essentially matching the pattern to. And it's very similar to how Incantation rolls, albeit much faster and much more ugly, especially when you throw in the cavernous, ghastly vocals on here. They are creepy. This is more akin to some sort of basement ghoul creature just shouting for fucking water or children to eat.
Well, it's very much shouting for water because it's all dry. It sounds like he's hurting himself. Did you hurt yourself? I feel like you hurt yourself. Is there a little bit of blood?
I mean, that would seem kind of natural with this performance. There's a little bit of blood came out. No, we'll keep it.
Reminded me a little bit at times like the vocalist from Replicant. His tortured, screaming presentation.
It's very much along the lines of Martin Van Drunen, Asphyx, Pestilence, that very throaty, dry, kind of, cold sounding. It's just kind of horrifying overall, and it mixes well with this band style. The first couple of tracks on here are still difficult for me to piece together in terms of what they're doing, because everything happens so fast and everything is very bereft of melodies and hooks. Even the cadences and the patterns, the songs, the riffs are just so all over the place. intro / Abhorrent Manifestation, which, I mean, that's kind of interesting that they titled the track after their last album, and Ungodly Death. Man, there's really awesome shit going on in the songs just in terms of like songwriting dynamics. Like the very percussive bass lines in Ungodly Death. Like it sounds like he's just beating the shit out of his fucking bass, or it could be a synthesizer. Either way, he's fucking punching it.
Yeah. And there's not much, at least in the first couple songs, by way of chug. It's mostly tremolo riffs, which creates a very like dissonant, evil atmosphere, kind of like a thick mist, fog, would you rather, falls over the first couple tracks. Reminds me a lot of Vitriol, actually.
Honestly, like the pace and the chaos of it, like Vitriol is definitely one I thought of. Also, maybe bordering on war metal, albeit I would say more technical, like reminded me a lot of Diocletian, again, except, you know, these riffs are decidedly very technical, like lots of weird atonal crawls, and again, the abrupt, jagged shifts in terms of transitions on here. It kind of creates its own atmosphere with the music being so chaotic and evil sounding. It's like a death metal panic attack.
Yeah.
But you do have like room for like some creepy synths every now and then, or like, you know, some dropouts where you get some cool drum fills. Honestly, a couple of them sound like a little tribute to Dave Lombardo. And as far as like Slayer references, there is a very Slayerish sort of howl in the song Visceral Strike, where it just kind of hits a high note real quick and then kind of goes away. It's like the ghost of Tom Araya's larynx.
It's like he surprised himself, just Wah!
I think he fucking hit his shit on a coffee table in the middle of the night, and they just recorded it.
Or zipped up his wiener in his zipper. That's...
Ow. The beans hopefully weren't over the Frank.
Now, as speedy as this is, it is not without some groove and a ton of dynamics, mainly in the songs Nexus of the Black Flame and Bestial Vengeance. While you still get a lot of blackened, squawking guitars and crazy riffs, there is finally some groove.
Yeah. You get like some small pockets. Like it's usually done as like, you know, you get one measure where it's like a double time groove and then back to the blast, because this album fucking blasts.
Oh, nonstop.
But you also get like some different kinds of speed in there. Like, you know, Bestial Vengeance actually has like this kind of cool stomping riff that starts off, and you get into like more gallops. You have some more nods to like, you know, early Morbid Angel and Possessed and shit like that, albeit played through a hellish filter of just demonic fucking noise. And it works. It actually has like some cool riffy moments that you can actually pick apart, because again, this is very like difficult to really pick apart everything they're doing. Like the guitar work is batshit crazy. Like I don't have any fucking clue what they're doing, but I know they're doing it really fast.
Yeah. And there was some D beats in Bestial Vengeance. It just made it all a tad easier, quote unquote, to latch onto.
Yeah, it's again a challenging listen, and that's even compared to Abhorrent Manifestation. I love that album.
I do too.
That album was chaotic, fast, and visceral as hell, and it is. But I think this kind of ups the ante, both in, again, the level of intensity and even the like more technical riff work on here, because I think Abhorrent was a little bit more straightforward. Like it's still, you know, technical and fast as hell, but it had like more chuggy moments in that you can really, you know, kind of like latch onto. This is just crawling and again churning. It's just fucking crazy sounding. But the thing I like is when this band does slow down, and it does happen, it's very sparingly, you give the songs room to breathe, because this is a very suffocating listen. Like everything is coming at you at a million miles an hour. But on songs like Inverted Ascension and the title track, you have pockets of groove and almost kind of like melodies. And granted, they're very sinister and very dark, because pleasantries should not be found on this album at all.
None whatsoever.
But it lets off the gas in these moments and gives these riffs time to breathe. They kind of break it up with like chugs and like actual more straightforward death metal riffs. Even the occasional more like blackened death metal in there too. But, you know, it's a nice sort of break to let you kind of sit back like, all right, I got a good moment here to groove with. That riff isn't so chaotic and atonal and dissonant.
Well, it sticks around.
And it sticks around, too. Yeah. Like, sticking around for a couple of measures, that's really nice, because despite the songs being, you know, like, you know, around the 4-minute range, you have, like, one that's over 6 minutes, it's moving so fast. It's like a combination of fucking war metal and grindcore songs occasionally, except they're playing flat out death metal. The title track, I think, is one of the best examples of them letting off the gas and throwing in melody. There are some really killer guitar parts in there, like Later Death, except more evil. Like, it's a little bit more technical. There's more, like dynamic sweeps. Like, blast beats aren't the main thing. Like, there's cool groovy pockets. And the lead work on here is really fucking solid, too.
Yeah, it's like Yngwie Malmsteen meets Morbid Angel.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't always match up. Like,
No.
wow, that is a really pretty lead over this chaotic, evil shit fit.
But that song most specifically is, to me, it doesn't feel as disjointed. Like, there's a lot of parts in that song that you can latch onto because they finally slow it down to something that the ear can catch onto. Like, this record, in my opinion, is not at all for the novice metal listener. In fact, it really helps if you have some musical background to be able to latch onto any of this.
Yeah, because I would say, like, this is vastly fucking technical as hell, but it's done in such a gritty, hellish fashion, and that is definitely accentuated by the just gnarly production on here, too, that I think you have to have some exposure to, like, a lot more extreme acts. And sometimes it doesn't entirely gel for me, like songs like Tantum Bellum. It's very spazzy, very crazy. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of Botch, which is a weird comparison, but imagine Botch or Dillinger Escape Plan as a death metal act, and I think you're kind of close there. Like, again, the riffs are very atonal, they shift around a lot. And again, Charlie's drum work is absolutely frantic.
You, sir.
It's nuts. It's truly hard to follow at times, but you just know he has given it his all. There's no fucking letting off the gas in here, except one moment.
Most of the songs on this record are insane batshit and good luck, with no light or hope or really anything along those lines.
I think this album gave me brain hornets. I don't know if that's a real condition, but I think I got them.
The song Passage to Eternity, it's an instrumental, and it's predominantly ambient classical guitar, and very pretty.
And acoustic.
An acoustic. It falls away from the dark, whatever the hell is happening here, into something actually quite beautiful.
You have these very somber acoustic guitars playing a melody, and then there is a bit of a phrasing that's like a descending part before it kind of just freaks out for a second, like a tremolo picks an acoustic guitar.
It reminded me of if you're playing guitar and you suddenly fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was skipping in the yard playing an acoustic guitar and I tripped over something.
I fell into a gopher hole.
That little bit they repeated, and then it transitions into what I would just call flamenco guitar. Like there's like these little fluttering melodies and such, and then behind that you start getting this building, like death metal song that's decidedly more melodic. In fact, this is the most melodic thing on the entire album. Like, there's definitely moments on the title track, but this is purely, I would say, like, very tuneful. Like, it's just very odd considering the rest of the album. Like, we brought up, like, the solos kind of have, like, a weird contrast with the music. Like, this is probably where the solos belong the most, and honestly, the lead work on this, instrumental.
Dude, I love the lead work on this track. Yeah, it's very pretty. Very well done, very tasteful, like the phrasing is spot on.
It's very odd. It feels like, this kind of sits somewhere between what, I guess you would kind of expect from Ascended Dead, albeit more melodic, and like Void Ceremony. Like, this sounds kind of like it would be on a Void Ceremony album, but maybe wasn't progressive enough, I guess. I don't know. It's wild, and I think it transitions really well into the title track because the title track really kind of embraces more melody and almost sort of proggy flair to the songwriting.
And plus, the title track gives poor Charlie a little bit of a break, quote unquote. He's not moving 1,000 miles an hour. There's actually a ton of groove in that song.
Yeah, it is legit probably the grooviest song on here. I mean, the Curse Enveloped in Thorns definitely has some really cool, like, chuggy stomps to it, and, some interesting drum patterns that aren't necessarily a blast beat, but, I mean, this album is, like, 85, maybe 90% blast beats, so, yeah, it was good to hear a little bit of a break from that. As far as any negatives on here, I will say that this is a challenging listen, and I've been through this about 2.5 times, went back and listened to the singles, listened to it twice, and While it made a little bit more sense the second time, like there's still so much to absorb in this because it's going so fast and it's such a relentless listen. Like even the modest breaks you get in here with like, Inverse Ascension having a more atmospheric lead in, it doesn't take long for the chaos to come crawling back in your fucking brain and, brain hornets.
Yeah, like you ever listen to a Behold the Octopus record? I mean, obviously this is way heavier than that and way darker than that, but it's that level of like, what the fuck is happening that happens throughout this album.
Yeah. And I do think there's some like, extras on here. Like Visceral Strike, while I like it, it feels just, kind of short and really doesn't do anything like particularly different than any of the other tracks. And the same thing with the last track, Intransigent Blackness, which is the outro. And I like the fact that it does more than most outros do, because most outros like, oh yeah, we got this cool soundscape that we could have played at the beginning of the album, but we put it at the end for whatever reason. It's actually musical. It just feels like a leftover riff or a section to another song that's like, well, we had this leftover and we wanted to kind of cap it off, and it kind of just fades out on it. And it's good, but it's kind of a why situation. Like, I just don't know why it's actually there. I don't know, it just feels kind of unnecessary, especially how the title track kind of fades out on just this bleak, gloomy sort of soundscape, and it does it really well. Like, that could have been the end of the album.
I mean, maybe they just thought it was a cool riff and didn't want to leave it out. Like, oh shit, we forgot to put this in something. This was supposed to be a bridge or something towards the end of a song, and we kind of fucked up, so here it is. So, overall, I give this record 3.5 stars. They're disgusting with musical talent here. Like, it's unreal. There's probably very few bands in the world that could pull this speed off with this technicality and make it all still fit. Like, this is a cross between, like, Immolation and Vitriol and Cryptopsy and Morbid Angel done at the speed of light. While the first couple tracks are a little bit hard to latch onto, it eventually does pick up and allow the listener to at least grab a hold of a few more things. Some memorable moments that occur. I don't really know a whole lot of what else to say because I'm still processing this album. It's just insane, but done really well. I think the production for what this is fucking perfect. It sounds horrifying and dark and angry and violent, and these are all the things I like in death metal. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now and let Nick talk because I'm out of things to say, but it's a 3.5 for me. Check it out.
I am also at a 3.5. This album sounds like it crawled out of a sewer in hell or a black hole and trailed behind it a lot of horrible tentacled things that want to tear your body limb from limb. This is just such a chaotic, twisted listen, but buried in that chaos is a lot of really cool riffing and one of the most insane drum performances I've heard this year. And I think I said that about, Void Ceremony. I take it back. It's this one. Jesus Christ, Charlie. I'm surprised you're fucking alive. This is nightmarish in terms of the atmosphere and the overall just vibe of this album, but it's also very engaging in the sense that, man, they are doing some really crazy stuff. And maybe played like a bit slower, I could probably pick up on more of it. Even though I'm not a musician, I have no fucking clue what they're doing. It's grossly impressive, just on a technical standpoint. In terms of the songwriting, it's very wild. Like, if you're a big fan of Immolation, especially, like, it's that, except, again, played very, very fast. The weird accents and turnovers, the strange atonal harmonies, the weird percussive bass that shows up on here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And the fact that they show up the melodic side on Passage to Eternity and the title track, like, wow, they're really fucking good at that. They just don't, because that's not what Ascended Dead's about. They're about creating a technical nightmare. Yeah, I dig this. It could grow on me even more. I think I'm a bigger fan of the debut, but I've had more time with that, so yeah, I'm going to spend some time with this creepy fucking album, and I'll probably grow to like it because I like crazy shit like this.
And I do too.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that as well. So
yeah, 3.5. Again, if you're a big fan of, stuff like Diocletian, Immolation, Incantation, other shins, I'm sure there's other ones that sound like this. Mitochondrion, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just check this out. It's just fucking insane. So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our store is there. We will be loading up on stuff eventually. We just got to figure out what we're going to load up on, but our Patreon link is also there too if you'd like to help us out. We also have a giveaway going on for when we hit 15,000 subscribers, which is just a surreal number. I'm giving away a stack of 10 CDs, a lot of cool shit. All you got to do is comment on the video link down below. Also, you can go to our channel. It should be playing automatically. Leave a comment. You are entered. And once we hit the magic number of 15K, I will do a announcement saying who the winner is, and we'll all celebrate because, holy shit, what a fucking moment. Never thought we'd get that far. Hell, nope. I didn't think we'd get to 1,000.
I really didn't. I didn't either. I thought our friends would subscribe and we'd have a couple hundred subs, and we'd be doing this.
I only watch our content because I edit it.
I don't really watch our videos.
You probably should.
I probably should, but I don't. I think I'd look and sound like a fucking idiot on camera. So
no, yeah.
Yeah. So very awkward, kind of like Charlie Brown, except taller.
But seriously, thank you guys so much for all your continued support and just everything you guys do. You're the real fucking heroes here, and we appreciate the living fuck out of you. So once again, thank you all, and we will catch you later.